Hello, Facebook friends. How are you? It's Lisa Neller here with my friend Jordan Adler. Hi, Jordan. I'm
Hi,
gonna
Lisa.
I'm gonna introduce Jordan in a minute, but I wanted to welcome you to Smart and Social, the new relationship marketing for small businesses, where we help solopreneurs tap into their dreams and create some skills for success. And I'm Lisa Neller. I'm the host of the newrelationshipmarketing.com. And you can go over to my website, thenewrelationshipmarketing.com, and you can get my free ebook. And it's titled High Touch, High Tech Marketing for Success: How to Maximize the Power of Networking, Social Media, and High Impact Marketing for Greater Profits and Client and Customer Retention. So if you are a networker, I think that ebook will help you. It's free, so just go on over there and get that. So the purpose of our live broadcast really is to share insight from people who have been there and done that, so that you can glean some insight and continue to develop your skills. And I have to tell you, I'm extremely excited to have our guest on today. So today you are going to get a little advice from a master, and that master is Jordan Adler. And I'm going to give you a little background here. So I had the pleasure of working with Jordan probably 20 years ago in another network marketing company. And he was my upline and one of my mentors back then. And now I have the good fortune of working with him again. And I'm really excited to share what it takes to be successful in network marketing through Jordan, who has literally experienced it all. He's going to give us a little advice. And don't we all want that as we're trying to grow our businesses? So let me tell you a little bit about Jordan. He was involved in 10 network marketing companies in his first 11 years in the business, and never signed up one distributor. He would tell you this himself. It's in his book, Beach Money. At the age of 34, he had less than $200 in the bank. He had $36,000 in credit card debts on 22 credit cards. He was living in a garage in Tempe, Arizona, and his rent was $200 a month. His Jeep had broken down for 2 years, and he was taking a bus to work. His job paid him $14,000 a year after the airline he worked for had just filed bankruptcy. Has this ever happened to you? I mean, 36 months later, Jordan became a top earner in his company of 2.5 million distributors and went on to make $20 million in network marketing. And that's not all. Jordan has built businesses consisting over 200,000 distributors and nearly 500,000 customers in countries all over the globe. He is a builder, a speaker, a leader, a trainer, and motivator. And his audiences are mesmerized by his stories that inspire belief and action. Jordan sees himself as a dream broker, and he lives his personal dreams on a large scale, and you're going to hear about some of that. But then he inspires others to go for theirs. He's the author of Beach Money, which if you are in network marketing, you have to read this book. And he's also written a couple other books that he'll tell us about later. And now Jordan is a licensed helicopter pilot, which he does for fun. He has been interviewed by some crazy big people in the industry, like Eric Worre. And I got to tell you, I feel super lucky to be able to talk to him today. I'm really honored. So welcome, Jordan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa. And I feel lucky to have you as a friend. So,
all right, Jordan. We'll get started. Tell us a little more about your story, maybe about quitting and how that worked for you.
yeah. So that was my game plan for it wasn't a written game plan or anything like that, but my first 10 years, 11 companies, that was my strategy for success. I would join a company and I would be involved with the company for anywhere from 1 to 4 months, in that range. Excuse me. And then at some point, this happens with everybody in every business. At some point, things started going a little south, and they weren't going quite as well. And so when things got tough, like when a couple of my friends told me they weren't interested, or I invited 5 people to a meeting and nobody showed up, or I ordered some product and the product never showed up or showed up really late, whatever it was, there was always a challenge that would happen somewhere within the first 2 to 4 months, and I would get discouraged and I'd quit. And that was my modus operandi. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that was kind of how I did the business. I would join, I would be really excited, I would go through the training programs, and I would start inviting people to take a look, and the responses I got from people were kind of negative, probably because of my own personal insecurities, but usually by my 3rd, 4th month or so, I got discouraged and I would quit. And I did that over and over and over again for 10 years with 11 different companies. Never made a penny, never signed up a single person. And I learned that strategy is just not effective in building a successful business, no matter what business you have. And it's tough, especially today with social media and all the connectivity that we have. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of distractions. It's really easy to get distracted and get sidetracked. And you can't, you have to find something that you really love. And you got to understand that you're going to have good times and bad times. And the bad times are part of it. Those cycles are part of it. And it's really just finding something that really moves you, but then also understand there will be times of really great discouragement. And if you quit during those times, you will never make it in any business. Doesn't matter what the business is. So I adopted a philosophy, don't quit on a bad day. And as long as you don't quit on a bad day, as long as you hang out, or a bad week or a bad month, as long as you continue to stay in action, you're going to have a good day and you're not going to want to quit. So that's helped me. That served me in my network marketing career. Once I figured that out, that I need to ride the ups and the downs, and they're easy. The ups and the downs are easy when you're just talking about it, but when you're actually in it, it's really tough. It really is tough. And there's days, as good as things have gone for me over the past, 17 years or so, 18 years, there are days that I want to throw in the towel, even today. But I don't, because I know that as long as I don't quit on a bad day, things are going to turn around, and they always do.
Yeah. Well, I like that you said, I think this is on your website, your Beach Money website. It says, I have quit and I have persisted, and the results of persisting have been much better.
Absolutely.
And so now you're sitting in your cabin home in the mountains, and I know you have a bad back, and I'm sorry about that, but the good news is you don't have to go clock in somewhere at a job, and you can just kind of breathe.
Yeah, Lisa, but I got to correct you on that. I don't have a bad back. I'm just dealing with a temporary situation.
That's right. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Okay. So let's go back to why you quit. Was there fear? Was it humiliation? Like, what kinds of feelings are there when people get rejected and stuff in network marketing? Like, what makes them really quit?
I never went through the humiliation thing, but I get it. Like, there's certain people that they join a company and their friends are watching them, especially again with Facebook and social media. And there's always that feeling that feeling that could come up that makes you go, if I don't make it in the business, what are my friends going to think of me? That kind of thing. We really care about what other people think of us. And you can't have that. You have to almost let go of those feelings to succeed in the business, because there are a lot of really great people, millions of great people that are involved in the network marketing profession. And they're some of the best people. They're some of the most fun people to hang out with. And they're living life and, building their dreams and enjoying life. And then there's a lot of miserable people out there too. And there's a lot of people that want to take you down. And so, the whole those are real. The feelings are real, whether it be humiliation, whether it be fear of what are you going to say, or what are people going to think, all those kinds of things. A feeling is a feeling. And again, you almost have to make your choices and decisions based on what you're committed to and not what you're feeling. If you're making your choices to build the business based on how you're feeling, you're never going to make it in the business, because we're human beings. Our emotions go up and down. There's days where we feel really motivated, and there's other days where we just don't even want to get out of bed. And, it's like, I know, Lisa, you have kids. I'm sure there were a few days that you were raising your kids that you didn't want to be a mom. Were there some day, where it's like, what am I
I would
doing
say
here?
some
Right?
prayers.
Yeah. But you don't quit because you're committed to your kids. It's a commitment. It's a lifelong commitment. And it's the same in your business. It's like you have to decide based on what you're standing for, what you want to accomplish, what you want to achieve for yourself and for your family, and stand in that commitment versus standing in all the other stuff that tends to drag us down. I can tell you that as long as you stay in action, as long as you're doing something positive every day, whatever feelings that are dragging you down or holding you back or keeping you from wanting to persist, whatever feelings those are, those will dissipate as long as you stay in action, as long as you do something. It's when you decide to throw in the towel, that's where, first of all, it doesn't work. It'll never work. People that I'm talking to a guy right now that's been, for a year, he's been talking about coming into our company, and he doesn't have the money, and it's been a year, and he's in his late 30s, and he's been trying to save up the money for a year, and he texts me every other day with questions, and then about every week he's getting sidetracked. And I don't even want to sign the guy up right now because I know if he's not even signed up yet, and he's getting sidetracked every week. All these different new opportunities, and he runs and by me, and what do you think of this and what do you think of that? There's 1,000 network marketing companies out there. That's just network marketing. There's probably 200,000 other opportunities out there. You have to find something that you love, that you like, that you think is going to make a difference in your life and the lives of others, something that you love, and commit to it and run the course with it. Don't quit until the job's done. It's the only way it works.
So what was it that helped you decide to stick with that 12th company? Like what in your mind changed at the time? And can you talk about mindset a little bit?
Well, it was okay. So there was a situation that came up. I'd been involved in the business. This was my 12th company. I'd been involved with the business for about a year. My total income at that point was the first time I ever had a group, and my group had grown to like 40 people. So it wasn't big. I'd signed up at that point probably around 8 people personally, and I didn't have a huge group, but it was starting to grow, and there was a little team in Peabody, Massachusetts, and I was still working at my job at the airline, so I had past benefits, but I had no money. My credit cards were maxed out, and these guys invited me to come out to Peabody, Massachusetts to do a meeting for them. And the day that I decided to fly out there was a blizzard in Boston, Massachusetts, huge. One of the worst blizzards they've ever had. And it's a 20-minute drive from the airport to this home where I was going to be doing this meeting. And it took me 2.5 hours to get there in a snowstorm. There were trucks in the ditches, complete whiteout. You couldn't see the front of the car. Finally found the address. I got there on time. I got there at 7 p.m. when the meeting was supposed to start, and the lights were off in the house, and there was nobody home. And I remember standing, I was living in Arizona, and I wasn't dressed for that weather. And I remember standing on the doorstep, wind blowing sideways, drifts up to the roof, car half buried in snow out in the street, and thinking to myself, because they had already quit 11 companies prior to this, and what had happened was there was nobody at the house because they got frustrated. Lisa, you remember we were in the telecom industry, and we used to have 800 numbers. Well, the 800 numbers weren't working, and between the time that we had scheduled the meeting and me showing up, they had decided that the company wasn't going to be very good for them, and they all quit. Like literally all 40 of them decided, the whole group went negative, and they all decided to not show up. Plus it was a blizzard, but I came all the way across the country on money that I didn't have. And I stood on that doorstep, and I can remember thinking to myself, you know what? I could quit again because this is what happens. This is what I do. I said, but I decided when I joined that 12th company that I'm not going to quit no matter what. And I'm going to do this based on my commitment. And I knew there were people in the company making money. And I said, I'm just going to keep going. And I got a Motel 6 that night because I was planning on staying at that home. I ended up getting a Motel 6, and then the next day flying back, and never talked to those guys again. The guy's name was Tom Alderink, and I never talked to him again.
His name.
I remember his name. Well, listen, this is why I remember his name, because a guy named Mark Yarnell, who's a legend in the network marketing profession.
Yeah.
He passed away a few years ago, but I had never met him in person, but he started hearing about my success in that company after I didn't quit. And he messaged me, one of his people messaged me and said, Mark is writing another book, and would you write a story for his book of the greatest obstacle that you've ever come across and how you handled it? And so I wrote the story about the blizzard and Tom Aldrink, and I put his name in the book. And I had forgotten about it, but 2 years later, I totally forgot about it. And my business was exploding. I was making, at that point, tens of thousands of dollars a month. And I got a phone call from one of my distributors saying, hey, I just picked up a book that's in the bookstore and you're in it. And I said, really? What book is that? She said, Your First Year in Network Marketing by Mark Yarnell. So I went down to the bookstore, and sure enough, there's the book, and I pull it out. And in the book, of course, is the story about the blizzard and Tom Aldrink. And so guess what I did, Lisa?
You sent him the book?
I signed the book and sent it to him and said, you're famous. The book never came back to me, so I know he got it, but I never heard from him again.
Wow.
But because I didn't quit, I started signing up more people. That whole group disappeared completely. All 40 of them completely disappeared.
Which happened.
Over the course of the next 13 years, I signed up 129 people. Your friend Jackie Ulmer was one of them.
Yes.
From those 129 people, there were 5 groups that grew into over 85,000 distributors and 250,000 customers, and I ended up making $8 million with that company. And part of that was thanks to, Jackie and her team. Jackie's team was a good percentage, 20% of all that volume and income came from Jackie's group.
Because she's a mover and a shaker, as we all know. And
yeah, she is.
Yeah. So that's a great story. Oh my gosh. I don't know that I would have overcome that one.
It was tough, especially, because my financial situation was so grim. And I mean, when you have a group, it was my first growing group. Like in my lifetime in network marketing, it was my first growing group, and they all quit. So it would have been really easy. It would have been justified for me to quit, but I didn't.
Yeah, well,
because I knew there were people making money. I just needed to figure. I needed to crack that code. Usually, when you're having a challenge, it means that you've got something to learn. If you're having a big challenge, it means you have something to learn. And when you quit, you never learn what it was you needed to learn. If you stick with it, you'll break through it, and then you learn what you need to learn. You'll never have that challenge again.
You'll have other challenges, though, right?
That's right. Yes.
Like how to manage a big team and all that.
Right. Yeah.
So you did a training recently. I loved this training. You called it, Let Me Give You a Little Advice. And I love that title of that training. And in that training, you talked about a couple of things, like doing a couple of things every day that would, after a short period of time, give you confidence and help you build a solid foundation for your business, get you off to a great start. And this really leads into to taking action. So I want to ask you, what do people need to do when they get started in a business?
Yeah. So it's kind of a chicken egg situation. I've heard people say, I'm not giving presentations because I don't have the confidence. But in reality, they don't have the confidence because they're not giving presentations. I'm not setting up appointments because I don't have the confidence. Well, in actuality, you don't have the confidence because you're not setting up appointments. So confidence comes from doing. It doesn't come from thinking about it or talking about it. I could have never had the confidence to fly helicopters if I hadn't gotten in the helicopter and flown. The only way you learn to do it is to sit with somebody and do it. And get a lot of coaching and a lot of training and a lot of frustration and what do I need to learn and mastering it by doing it over and over and over again. So if you want a strategy for rapidly accelerating the pace of growth in your business, right now, today, not next week, not next month, but right now, today, start setting up appointments by texting people and asking them if they'll take a look at your business. However you do it in your company. Your company leaders either have a script or have a they might have a texting script, or they might have a way that you set up appointments, but whatever that is, start to do that right away. And then if you need to have somebody with you to do the presentation in the beginning, you can't lean on them too much, but they'll do it for you in the beginning to teach you how to do it. Just like when I went up in the helicopter the first time, my instructor did all the flying, but then little by little, I took over different aspects of it. So as I took over different aspects of flying, eventually I gained confidence. And the reason I gained confidence because I was doing it. And sometimes it was scary. But, the first time my instructor, Tammy, she said, "You're ready." And I said, "Ready for what?" She said, "Ready to solo." I'm like, "By myself?" And she said, "Yeah." So she said, "Land the helicopter." And I landed the helicopter. And she opened the door and got out and said, "Do 3 patterns on your own." I'm like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, you can do it on your own." She goes, "I haven't been doing anything the last 5 flights we've taken. I haven't done anything. It's all you now." So she surprised me and said, "Today you're going to do it." So I called the tower, lifted the helicopter up, did 3 patterns, and it went perfectly. And that's what gave me the confidence, was doing it. Because I wasn't confident the first time I soloed. People aren't. Nobody is. But it's the same in our business. You do it until you're confident. But you won't get confident unless you do it. So whatever it is, whether it's using the product every day, recommending the product every day, texting people to set up appointments, meeting with people, your first couple of presentations might be a little scary. It's okay. If you've been doing them for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you stop doing them, if you've been doing them and then you stop doing them for a while, you might start to question yourself. Let's say you haven't done a presentation in 2 months and you had confidence at one point, and then you start questioning yourself and start imagining all the things that could go wrong, wondering what they're going to think of you. And because you're out of action, you begin to doubt. Once you get back into action, your doubt will go away. So if I don't fly the helicopter for 2 months, I start thinking, I wonder if I'm going to remember everything. Wonder if I'm going to remember how to fly. But as soon as I get in the helicopter, it's fine. Everything's fine. It all comes back to you. So that's really what you want to do, is get into action. Action will take you out of doubt. Doubt will take you out of action.
Okay. Well, that is great advice. So try not to overthink it. Try not to learn too much before you go out and do it. Just start doing it.
That's right.
Okay. So, Jordan, can you talk a little bit about what skepticism is versus cynicism? And, when people say, they may not even say the word "I'm skeptical," but they may give you an indication that they are. What do you do with that? What are the differences?
So skepticism is good, cynicism not so good. So when you meet somebody, in fact, probably 2/3 of the people you meet with are already skeptical even before you meet with them. That's just the nature of humans. But skepticism is good because when somebody's skeptical, it just means they have questions. They're interested. A lot of times they're interested, but they're just skeptical. They're not sure. It's like, I just need to get my questions answered. I need to understand better. Versus somebody who's cynical, their job is to just tear you down. Their job is to make you look bad so that they look better. And you know the difference. I mean, a lot of times in the beginning, it's hard to tell the difference between a skeptic and a cynic. Cynic is just trying to blow holes in your dreams, and a skeptic wants to know. Like inquiring minds want to know. That's the skeptic, right? So how do you handle a skeptic? You handle skeptic with information, but it can't come from you. I call it third-party proof. Skeptic, you want to offer proof, but it cannot come from your mouth. If you find yourself trying to convince a skeptic, you're going to lose. It just doesn't work. It has to come from a third party. So what would be third-party proof? Like a webinar, that would be third-party proof. Sending somebody a sample of your product, that would be third-party proof because it's not coming from you, it's coming from the company. Having them listen in on a conference call. Doing a 3-way call with somebody who has a little more experience than you do. That's all third-party proof, and that's how you overcome skepticism. People need information, and sometimes you need to feed people information for weeks or even months before they make a decision. That's okay. That's just the nature of people. Some people are skeptical. 2/3 of the people you meet with are probably going to be skeptical, and you just have to be okay with that because that's how it is. It's not that they're mad at you. It's not because they hate you. It's not because they're thinking bad of you. It all has to do with they're just skeptical because that's how people are. And there are cynics out there. And you know what? There's cynics they are cynics in every part of their life. They're cynics with their kids. They're cynics with their parents. They're cynics with their spouse. They're trying to take other people down, make other people feel bad so that they can feel better. And those people, you want to kind of remove them from your life. If they're your family members, you can't remove them from your life. But what you can do is not talk about the business when you're around them. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made, you know what I'm talking about, Lisa. One of the biggest mistakes I've ever made is my father was a cynic for many years. And anytime the topic of the business would come up, he would try and tear me down. He was not skeptical. He was not interested. He just tried to make me feel bad about the business because he didn't believe he was trying to protect his son. I get that. But he didn't believe that network marketing was a good thing. And that he felt like he was doing me a service by blowing holes in the whole network marketing model. You know, he used to call it a pyramid scheme to my face all the time. And you got to get out of it. It's just a house of cards and da-da-da-da. And I finally learned that I can't talk about the business around my dad, because if I'm going to talk about it around him, I'm going to expect a fight. I don't fight with people, but I would end up in a fight with my dad every time we talk about network marketing. And so I stopped bringing it up. Well, in his later years, he became a huge fan. He loved Beach Money. I talked about him in Beach Money a little bit. He recommended Beach Money to his friends. He was a real advocate. I sent him cards through our system. He was a huge advocate of my network marketing business. Oh, and I took him on cruises and bought him a new car and all those kinds of things. So then he became a real fan. Yeah, that's right. That's third-party proof. Exactly. He went from cynic to skeptic to believer. So yeah. So sometimes if it's a cynical person, just close your book and walk away. Metaphorically, and don't bring it up with those people. And if they're skeptical, just answer their questions using third-party proof.
You know, I've noticed that there are so many people involved in network marketing, either from a customer standpoint or I know I'm hearing a little bit of an echo here, sorry, but or a distributor. Like there's tons of people out there dabbling, in the business. And so for me, I don't see the cynicism so much anymore. But what I think is that if people can just if they're in this industry, they need to be professional. So can you talk about that? What does it mean to be a professional network marketer?
You know, it's funny because, Lisa, when I started in the network marketing profession, 90% of the population was 100% sure it was a scam, and 10% thought it was a good thing. So there were a lot more cynics back then. Today, and back then, if you were a believer in network marketing, you kind of looked like the fool. But today, because there's been so much positive written about it, generations of kids growing up in network marketing, there's, large professional training programs being held all over the world to professional network marketers. Today, like 90% of the population knows that network marketing is legit, and 10% thinks it's a scam. Today, if you are a cynic, you almost look like the fool. Back then, if you were the believer, you look like the fool. Today, it's kind of the other way around. So there aren't as many cynics. And network marketing is a professional career. It's been my career now since 1996 full time. This is all that I've done. And I've got hundreds of friends, that make a full-time career income, of which a large percentage of it is residual from network marketing. And they've raised their kids from infant baby all the way to adulthood in a network marketing family where mom and dad didn't work a job. And so those kids, they are not skeptical of network marketing at all. They love network marketing because mom and dad were able to stay home with them through their whole childhood. They love network. The kids that grow up in network marketing families love network marketing. Their parents take them all over the world. And they get to see the world, and they've got a much more rich and diverse experience of life when they grow up in a network marketing family, just from a social standpoint. So yeah, so I think it's a little different today, and it is a professional career.
What makes it professional? Like how can we present ourselves in the industry as professional? There are certain things you should do and certain things you shouldn't do. And
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the same in network marketing as anything else. Uh, have integrity, do what you say you're going to do, you know, and then be on time, dress professionally, according to the, appropriate for whatever it is that you're doing. Like, if you're going to a business meeting, then dress professionally for that business meeting. I think being prepared, like not just doing the business off the cuff, like flying by the seat of your pants, but actually master your 30-minute presentation so that you can sit down with somebody, or your demo, so you can sit down with somebody and go through the whole thing. Be a professional, because even if you're doing it part-time, if you're doing it, a few hours a week, during those few hours a week, represent your business, because it is your business, in a professional manner. And then also, you want to really be responsible in terms of how you manage your money. So that means pay your taxes, have a plan to pay your taxes, put money aside when you make money, because you are going to need to pay taxes. Have an accountant that believes in network marketing that'll do your taxes for you. And then, I did a conference call called My Number One Regret. And in this conference call, I talk about my biggest regret is that I didn't take 10% of my income and put it away for my first $4 million, or for my first $8 million that I made. I would have $20 million more if I had just taken 10% of my income over my first 13 years in the business and put it away and not touched it, no matter what. That was my biggest regret, that I didn't do that.
Okay,
and
did you change that?
I have changed it the last 13 years, absolutely. And instead, what I did is, anytime a friend would come to me and say, I've got this new project I'm working on, I need 10 grand or 40 grand, I want you to be a partner, I started to be the Shark Tank guy and started giving 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand here and there. And 13 years later, I had made $8 million, and paid $3 million of that in taxes, and then spent $4 million of it loaning money to people that needed money to start businesses. And guess how much of the $4 million I still have? Zero.
How much?
Because zero, none of it. Instead, I could have taken that $4 million and put it away and not touched it, and it would have grown to $20 million over the period of years since I made that money. So you can still do that stuff if you got the discretionary income, if you want to take the high risk opportunities and invest in movies and dance studios and, bars and nightclubs or whatever it is that you want to do. You can still do that stuff, but just make sure you put 10% of your income away. Even if you're making $100 a month, put 10% away and don't touch it. Just have it automatically done and don't touch it. And you'll be much better. Even if you don't make a lot of money in network marketing, at some point you'll have your mortgage payment covered and your car payment covered if you just take 10% and put it away.
Okay, good advice. Real quick, can you talk, I don't know if you can do this real quick, but I don't want to hold you up too long, but can you talk about the importance of having a contact management system and what that means for your success in direct sales?
I can do that briefly. It's first of all, your network is your most valuable asset. And everybody has some sort of a contact manager. It's either in your phone or, you've got a contact manager somewhere. In some ways, your Facebook is a contact manager. However, most people don't have a system for managing those contacts. There's a contact manager, but you're not really managing the contacts. You might be managing within on your computer or your phone, but I'm talking about the interactions that occur between the contacts in your contact manager and the people, the actual people. What are you doing to appreciate those people on a daily basis? Yeah. So most people, they put people into their contact manager if it even gets there. Sometimes they're just business cards. They never even make it to the contact manager, but most people put contacts in there, but they never do anything with them. So I believe in not just having a contact manager, but having some kind of a system that allows you to interact with those people on a regular basis, long-term, to build rock-solid relationships, because your network is everything. The reason some people can leave their career and join another career in, let's say, a top salesperson in their company, they can go to another company and they can become the top salesperson over there because of their network, their skills and their network. But you have to have a way to manage those people in a positive way that'll make a difference.
Okay, so phone calls, cards, messages, texting, just stay in
All
touch.
that.
Stay in touch and
Yeah.
be kind and acknowledge people and appreciate them and that kind of thing.
That's right. Yep. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about your books, Jordan. What do you talk about? Beach Money, talk about your other books. Like, tell everybody what you do on the side.
Yeah. So I wrote Beach Money actually 9 years ago, and it's a book about how to create leverage and residual income in your life, which everyone wants. If they're honest, they want it. Everyone wants it. They may not admit it, but if I said to you, if this were real, job and not have to go to work to get it, would you want it? Everybody's going to say yes to that. So Beach Money is about how to do that. It's about how to leverage your life, leverage your time, create a residual income stream. The title says it all. It's beach money. Go to the beach and make money. Beach is just a metaphor. And 100% of the profits go to charity. The book is 9 years old, and it still sells 5,000 copies a month. Sold about 500,000 copies. And it's continuing to grow. And I'm relaunching that book in 2 weeks. It's going to be coming out with a whole new look, with going from 120 pages to 170 pages. You'll be able to buy it on Beach. You'll be able to buy it on beachmoney.com. It's not out yet, but it will be shortly. And then in about 90 days after that, I'm launching a second book that I've been working on for a long time that I'm really excited about, called Better Than Beach Money. And everybody asks, well, what is better than beach money? We got to read the book to find out, right?
That's right.
So, but you got to read Beach Money first. So that'll be coming out first of the year on the 10-year anniversary of Beach Money.
Okay. Well, I have to just say that one of the best things about Beach Money is your story, and just realizing that somebody like you, who's a normal guy, who has a big dream, who had a big dream, went through what you went through to get where you are. So that takes up a good portion of the book, and you keep interspersing those stories throughout the book. So I highly recommend that book, and even buy some extra copies for the people on your team and send those to the people on your team if you're in direct sales. What else is going on, and where do you want people to go? Do you want to talk about the Cool Buzz or anything like that?
Well, the Cool Buzz is really more of a training site for our company. There's great calls on there, great information, but beachmoney.com has a lot of videos on it. And then, of course, I have a fan page. You can find me on Facebook and follow me there. And I'm always throwing out a lot of training and ideas and tips and advice to help you build your business. And so, and I want to encourage you to follow Lisa. She's interviewing some really great people, and follow these video interviews that she's doing, because you'll learn a lot.
Thank you, Jordan. Yeah. So like he said, share, if you know anybody in the industry, this is free training right here from one of the best. So Jordan, I can't thank you enough. I really am so honored and appreciate your time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in September when you come back to Phoenix. So
thanks, Lisa.
Yeah. So
looking forward to it.
Have a good weekend, and
I appreciate it.
Take care of yourself.
Thanks for the invitation to do this. It was fun. Talk to you soon, Lisa. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.